everyone. In today's class, we are going to learn about environmental issues. And our part 4 is solid waste. So as we have been talking about different types of pollutants in our previous classes, and we are talking about the types of pollution, right? So there are different types of pollution like air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, right? Thermal pollution. So that these different types of pollution, and we have talked about the how air pollution has been caused because of the harmful gases, right? And how water pollution is caused because of the discharge of the harmful waste material on industry waste, household waste, all the waste material which has been released into the water bodies, right? In today's class, we are going to talk about the solid waste. So what is solid? So we know that matter has three states. One is solid, liquid, and gases, right? So solid, it refers to any solid, semi-solid, liquid, or gaseous material. So solid doesn't mean only the particles which are rigid in nature. They are also semi-solid, liquid, gaseous contained in them, right? That results from the human activity. So if we talk about all the types of pollution, human activity like the anthropogenic activity is mainly involved. It includes industrial, commercial, mining, and agricultural operations, right? So it includes throwing of garbage, sludge from the wastewater treatment plant, water supply treatment plant, air pollution, everything. So all the solid waste which is being generated by the human activity can easily be classified into biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and recyclable. So biodegradable means waste which can be easily decomposed by the help of microorganisms. So waste from the food and the textile industries which has been degraded, decomposed by the microorganism is known as the biodegradable waste, right? Then we have the non-biodegradable waste. So non-biodegradable waste which cannot be decomposed by the help of microorganisms or the microbes like the waste fertilizer industry, iron and steel industries, etc. Next we have the recyclable. Recyclable means which can easily be recycled waste from the paper or the agricultural waste. So this is known as biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and recyclable, right? The materials can easily be recycled, it can be stored, reused, and biodegradable waste is put into the deep pits for decomposition, right? So we can put in the decomposition by the microorganism. So the disposal of biodegradable waste is a major concern or a major problem and adds to the environmental pollution. So let's talk about the composition of solid waste. What makes up the solid waste? Paper. So paper is having 34% in the solid waste. Yard trimmings, that is grass, leaves, tree, branches, tree stumps from the residential, institutional and commercial areas, that consist of 13%. All the food stuff that comes into biodegradable, right? And paper comes into recyclable, that is 12%. Plastic, which is non-biodegradable, that means if you leave the plastic for 24 hours, for months, it will remain as such. It is not degraded or decomposed by the microorganism, that is 12%. Then we have metals. So it includes heavy metals also, arsenic, right? So they are 8%. Rubber, leather, textile, that consists of 7%. Wood, 6%, glass 5%, and other material 3%. So this is whole making up the solid waste. So variety of solid waste are there like leftovers, eatables, rotten food, vegetables, leather good, empty bottles, cans, plastic containers which are dumped by the man into the environment. So there are hazardous waste also from the hospitals, from the ship, that constitute a kind of solid waste. Right? So the workers of the ship breaking the yard as well as the people staying near the coastal areas, they get affected if they come in contact with the hazardous waste. So these all consist of solid waste. Let's talk about the different types of solid waste. First is the municipal solid waste. So when we're talking about the municipal solid waste, the garbage from a household or the municipal is defined as the municipal solid waste that includes the commercial and the residential waste, right, which is generated in a municipal or notified area in either the solid form or it can be in the semi-solid form, right? So as per the municipal solid waste management and handling rule, so there is municipal solid waste handling rule 2000. Garbage is defined as the municipal solid waste, right, but it does not include the industrial hazardous waste, but it includes the treated biomedical waste. So here we can see it excludes the industrial hazardous waste, but is it including the biomedical waste or the hospital waste, right? So the main sources of the municipal waste are household, restaurants, clinics, construction and demolition of buildings, horticulture activities like all the crop growing activities. In India, the biodegradable portion is mainly the kitchen waste, which is dominating of the municipal solid waste. Right? Next, we have the medical waste. So medical waste is also classified into two types. One is biomedical waste and the next is other waste. So when we're talking about the biomedical waste, they consist of sputum, cotton swabs with blood, amputated body parts, etc. That means these are the cotton swabs of the humans or the organisms, right, which have been already used of the organism which is infected, because of which they are infectious waste, and it should be disposed by burning them in incinerators, right? So what are incinerators? Incinerators are the one in which all the waste or the biomedical waste are being disposed of. The other waste consists of the used needles and syringes. So all of these should also be removed, and they can be safely disposed by burying in the underground chambers. So we can bury the needles, syringes in all the underground chambers, right? So if these have not been properly sterilized from the hospitals, the clinics, right, before they are disposed of, they can create the health problems. So the waste are sometimes buried underground, but it causes a problem to the animal who dug it up, right? So sometimes these waste are actually causing problem to the humans as well as other organisms also. Next, we have the industrial waste. So when we're talking about the industrial waste, it includes the waste from the industries. So it includes chemical waste, which is given out by the industries producing fertilizers, pesticides, other poisonous materials which are particularly very hazardous, right? So chemical industries manufacturing new chemicals are major source of hazardous industrial material, right? So waste given out by the industries produce fertilizers, pesticides, poisonous materials. They flow out with the wastewater from these industries and they contaminate the surface water, or we can say groundwater. Then we have the another source, that is buildings destroyed by the events such as fires and Hurricanes. So chemicals like such as paints, solvents, pesticides, they were stored in the building and they may be released into the environment. So when debris from the damaged building is burned or buried, fly ashes is generated. So fly ash is generated by burning of coals in thermal power plant is an industrial waste. There are some inert material also, right? So inert material like the broken pieces of glass, marble, tile, ceramics, they're also waste, but they're not very toxic to humans and animals, right? So these waste interfere with the plant growth. They interfere with the plant growth and ecological processes. So that is enriching the topsoil. So there are various types of industrial wastes. For example, arsenic. Arsenic is because of the mining, right? So if we talk about the cadmium, cadmium is because of the mining, fertilizer industry. Chromium is from the tanneries, mining areas. Manganese from the mining areas, right? There are hydrocarbons also like the benzene, right? So benzene is released from the petrochemical industries. It is inorganic in nature, right? And there are organic chemicals also like PCBs, right? That is polychlorinated biphenyls, which is from the fluorescent light, hydraulic fluids, and e-waste. So this, what is e-waste? E-waste is electronic waste. So many electronic gadgets are there like computers, cell phones, televisions and computer games that are discarded every year because they get just they're not working and everyone wants new cell phone, computer, and these are forming electronic waste. So metals in those electronics like copper, iron, silicon, nickel, gold, they're extracted from the waste through recycling, right? And China and Pakistan for extraction of metals such as copper, iron, silicon. So they are being extracted by China and Pakistan and India also, right? So there are effect of the electronic waste. Electronic waste includes all the plastic case for computers, right? So when they are burned, it produces the toxic materials. So extraction is done manually. The workers get exposed to the hazardous chemicals in the e-waste and they may cause cancer if breathed in, ingested or absorbed through the skin. So workers in the location where computers are disassembled may not be aware of the toxic nature, right? And that cause the hazardous problems and they are very hazardous in nature. So how to manage these solid waste? What to do? First is on-site disposal. On-site disposal means waste can be carried out by installing the garbage disposal devices. So there are garbage disposal devices which can be used. On-site handling can be done, right? So this helps in that it can grind the kitchen waste which can be flushed into the sewer system, right? So it can easily be removed. Then we have the composting. Composting is making a compost, right? Rapid partial decomposition. That means there is a decomposition or degradation of the waste of the moist solid organic waste by the organism, by the microorganism. Aerobic means which has oxygen, right? So in this process, it is very rapid and large-scale composting is generally carried out in the controlled environment of mechanical digesters. There are mechanical digesters for the large-scale composting, right? Then we have pyrolysis. So pyrolysis means combustion of the solid waste. So in this, the solid waste combustion is carried out in the absence of oxygen, right? There is no oxygen at a higher temperature like 1650 degree Celsius inside the chambers. It does not yield any pollutant and produces other useful substances and gases. So it can be carried out in the absence of oxygen. Next is incineration. So like we have seen that incineration can be done, so combustible waste is burnt, right? So we can burn at around 1000 degrees Celsius to consume all the combustible material, right? So there's a release of carbon dioxide that is in the combustion process. It leaves only ash and the non-combustible that can be disposed in a landfill. So we can use the process of incineration. So there are many types of incineration, or the landfills are there, like the sanitary landfill. So the waste to the smallest area, right? This is also known as municipal solid waste landfill. So it is designed in a manner so as to concentrate and contain the refuse without creating the hazard to public health, right? It is expensive because of the infrastructure, because of the landfill which is to be created, and it is covered with a layer of compacted soil. So here we can see that there are secure landfill is there produced for the hazardous waste to confine the waste to a particular location. Then we have the microbial breakdown process. So what happens in microbial breakdown? The biodegradable waste, like I told you, it can be degraded, decomposed with the help of the microorganism. They are applied to the surface soil and they are attacked by the microflora, right? Like all the bacteria, molds, yeast and other organisms. So when biodegradable waste are applied to the soil surface, they are attacked by the microflora and that decompose the waste material in a process known as microbial breakdown. So that means microbes are breaking up or breaking down the biodegradable waste. So here we have one case study of remedy for the plastic waste. So plastic sack manufacturer, I told you that plastic is non-biodegradable. So if you burn plastic, right, so it causes lot of harmful gases which are sometimes toxic in nature, right? So plastic sack manufacturer in Bangalore has managed to find the ideal solution because of the increasing accumulation of the plastic waste. So what happens in this is there were two brothers, right? So it was Ahmed Khan, which is 57 years old, has been producing the plastic sack for 20 years, right? So they're collecting the plastic about 8 years ago. He realized that the plastic waste was a real problem. So in this what happens is there were two brothers, brother Rasool and Ahmed Khan. So they started running a business of plastic in Bangalore in 1996 when the plastic was banned, right? So they were thinking that the plastic was a real problem. So there was a polyblend. What is polyblend? Polyblend means a fine powder of recycled modified plastic. So if you do the plastic in the powder form and make it with recycled modified plastic, that becomes a polyblend, was developed by his company. The mixture is mixed with the bitumen. So bitumen is mixed with the modified plastic which is used to lay on the roads. So what they did was they mixed it with the bitumen and is used in making roads with the help from the RV College. So in collaboration with the RV College of Engineering and the Bangalore City Corporation, Ahmed Khan proved that blends of polyblend and bitumen when they used to lay on the roads enhance the bitumen's water repellent property. That means water repellent properties are there. That means water is not being soaked up by the bitumen and help to increase the road life by a factor of 3. So from this, the raw material of creating the polyblend is the plastic film waste, and hence the plastic is actually used up, right? So the price of rupees 0.40 per kg that Rack Pickers has been getting for plastic now offers rupees 6. And because of this technique, by the year 2002, more than 40 kilometers of road in Bangalore has been led by the polyblends and the bitumen. And at this rate, the Khan will be soon be running short of plastic waste in Bangalore to produce the polyblend, and hence all the plastic waste is removed, or we can say it is used up in making the roads, right? And the lifespan of bitumen road was generally 3 years, increased to 6 to 7 years with the polyblend. So this work has expanded in many countries like Italy, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Burma. So this is about the solid waste. So we have talked about the different types of solid waste, right? And how we can dispose it, like on-site disposal, composting, pyrolysis, yes? And the different like electronic waste, hazardous waste, yes? So this is all about the solid waste. I hope you understood. Thank you.